Hi, and welcome to your guide on pricing your home. This is one of the biggest parts of getting a house sold is finding the right price. And we're here with Ashton. Ashton, welcome back. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Justin. Thanks for having me.
Last time I asked you if you could be any neighborhood anywhere in the world, what would you be? And you picked Charleston, South Carolina, because it is fancy and there's good food. How about Atlanta? If you had a spirit neighborhood in Atlanta, what would it be?
Yeah, it's a toss up for me because there's so many amazing neighborhoods in Atlanta. But probably Ansley Park for about the same reason as Charleston. Aside from the fancy food or the great food, but there's a lot of great food really close by. The great thing about Ansley Park is you're in the heart of the city. You have city views. But the homes are gorgeous and of historic age, and there's a little bit of everything there. And there's some phenomenal parks, and of course, most of the neighborhood lines, Piedmont Park, which is great. A close second for me would be historic Brookhaven because the lots are so massive, and it just has the coolest vibe.
Love it. Awesome. Well, let's talk about, the pricing in those neighborhoods is high.
It's high.
Let's
Yes.
talk about how to get people high prices in every neighborhood. This is one of the biggest parts of selling a house is you're doing all this work to get it ready. You're going to put it out there and the price has a big impact. How do you help people price a house? What's the first thing you do in that situation?
Yeah, all of our clients, for the most part, want to sell their house for as much as they possibly can. And the great thing about working with our team is that we want that too. Mm-hmm. I've not given a house away so far, and I don't intend to start. And we want to help our clients maximize the sale of their property. And we do that through a very, very specific process that allows our clients to ensure that they're not going to give their house away. And that coupled with our marketing strategy and efforts, as well as the personalized plan that we're going to put in place for their home is proven, to get them market beating results. Some people might not know that our listings actually outperform the market by about 3%. As far as their sales price goes. So 3% more than they might be able to get otherwise. And also in about 30 days less than how the market is currently performing. So most clients want more money in less time. And the great thing is we have the proven track record to get them there.
So how do you come up with that price?
But from the perspective of how we're going to help them price their property. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So from that perspective, we look at 5 specific ways that we can strategize around the price. So we have a 5-step pricing process is what I call it, and we'll dive into those each of those categories with our clients and have that data put together for them when we meet for the initial conversation. And then what we really find in our current marketplace, there are 3 key strategies that you can utilize when pricing your property. And each of these strategies work on certain properties. And it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all approach. It really depends on what their goals ultimately are, the type of home that they have, and many other factors. But we find that there's 3 strategies. So number 1, they can test the market. They can test the market. That would be them listing higher than where the last sales were. We find that can work well in a rising market. It can also work well for a super unique home that doesn't have a lot of sales data. You may be testing the market no matter what price you put it at because it is so unique. So if that is the strategy that somebody wants to go for, the biggest risk of that strategy is that the market says that is not the price for the home based off the amount of activity and the interest that they have in the home. And of course, we can re-strategize from there. But that is the biggest risk with that option. Option number 2 is that sweet spot number, that price at right number. And that's where you're going to list as high as you can without negatively impacting the amount of showings you get, the offers you receive, the negotiation position you're in, or your time on the market. Most of our clients find that that is, that is a number that is going to help them get where they want to go when they want to be there. And then we find that there is a third option, and that is the strategically aggressive option. And the cool thing about that option is it's just a little bit lower strategically than that price at right number, but helps us to drive a lot of showings and interest in a really short amount of time, leading to the absolute highest chance of a quicker, more advantageous sale for the seller. And the cool thing about that for our clients is that it is a strategy that allows them to hold a really great, powerful position throughout the course of the entire transaction. And that puts them in a very powerful spot to have the terms as well as the price that help them achieve their goals.
So what's the risk of that strategy? And when you say terms, I mean, what terms other than the price can be important to the seller?
Absolutely. So, first and foremost, on the terms, there are a lot of terms that can be important to our sellers, but we find that when we have that power position throughout the course of the transaction, by having a lot of interest in selling the home quickly, we can get the closing date that they want. Maybe they need to spend time in the house after closing so that they can move a little slower. That is a little easier to get in that situation. We can also, of course, get them price and the strength of an offer from that perspective, but also limited to no contingencies, which allow them to get to the closing table at an easier pace. And then as far as the numbers go, a lot of times it's not a big difference. It's just a little bit of a strategy pool to help them achieve that goal.
And I guess the risk of that is you're setting the price a little bit lower and you only get one offer at that price and it doesn't get bid up. Is that
That's
kind of
right.
the risk of that?
Yeah, and that's honestly the biggest risk is that the market says that is the number, or maybe that's not the number. So we do have to really be strategic about that, and know what we're getting into, so that the seller is in the best possible position to win in that situation.
And so if a house doesn't sell right away, how long should it go before a seller should start to get worried and say, uh-oh, the price that we started out at is not the right price? How long does it take to figure that out?
Yeah, absolutely. Never get worried, because we have a strategy for that. So our hope is that our clients are never worried or nervous about the sale of their home. However, we understand that having a home sitting on the market and seeing that sign without under contract sign on it every day it is a point of anxiety for our clients. So we find that there is a point that of a specific amount of showings, which is right around that 10 to 12 mark, without an offer, or 2 weeks on the market without the showing activity and the pace that we're really looking for to ultimately sell or get an offer at is kind of the way that we're looking at it. So we're looking, and we might be looking at a price drop at that point to actually move the property. But our goal is to price it as high as we can without that being the case. And the market, of course, is going to continue to move. However, we want our strategy to fit the current marketplace and really be priced ahead of where the current marketplace is, so that our clients don't have to make that move down on price, because the end result just isn't as favorable when they do have to make that move down.
Yeah. So if you've gone 2 weeks and you're not getting showings on pace to have 10 or 12 per month, or if you've had 10 or 12 showings and you're not getting any offers, those are pretty good indicators that you need to have a conversation about the price.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes we just need more time. Maybe we've got a couple people on the fence, and sometimes we do need to go ahead and make that move down on price to really create the urgency back into the listing, so that we ultimately do get that offer at a quick pace. And we're going to be continually strategizing and looking at those factors on a daily and weekly basis with our clients, to make sure they are as positioned super well within the market.
Love it. So if you could give one secret tip on pricing the house. What is Ashton's secret for pricing?
Listen to Ashton.
What a great tip. What a great tip. Because what will Ashton say? What's the one best piece of advice you're going to give people?
I'm going to have their best interest at heart, and I always do. And we're going to help you get there. I know the biggest thing that I see is that it's hard sometimes for our clients to trust the process with the pricing strategy. And time over time, I guarantee you we could go back to those clients right now who were a little concerned about that strategy that we chose. And ultimately it paid off big time on the back end for them.
Yeah. And I'll say from personal experience, when you're selling your own house, there's an emotion to it. The last house that my wife Amaris and I sold, you sold for us because I could tell there was an emotional aspect to it, and I didn't trust myself to make the best decisions on it. And it ended up working out perfectly. We got full price. We got a great price. And I got to see it firsthand, that I was like, oh man, listening to Ashton, that is great advice, because it's just really hard when it's your own house to have a clear, unbiased mind on how to price the house. So
it really is. It really is. And yes, and you were a great seller. So you're a great seller to work with. Although you did want more money than what the market.
Of course, every seller, I thought the house was better than it actually was. So, all right. Well, Ashton, thanks for your expertise today. Everyone, thanks for watching. We will see you on the next one.
Bye-bye.